Hi, my name is Hannah Whitten. Thank you guys so much for being here today, and a special thank you to Gardner and the Pammy family for asking me to be here. This is my co-speaker, Dylan. Dylan was my big brother by 5 years. There was not a minute since I was born that he was not right by my side. I always knew when I was little, if I had a nightmare, I could crawl into Dylan's bed. Home became less of a place and more of a person to me, and that home was Dylan. Dylan was diagnosed with epilepsy when he was 2 years old. As many of you in this room know, it's one of the hardest things on earth to watch someone you love struggle with epilepsy. Everyone who loved Dylan wanted to take this disease away from him. It's really hard to sum up a 23-year battle against epilepsy in a short speech like this, so I'm just going to do the Cliff Notes. He was diagnosed at 2. We were never really able to control his seizures until right before he died. There were some days that he would have 36 seizures in one day, and then we'd go a couple weeks, couple months without any at all. Dylan had a vagus nerve stimulator implanted in him, and while that did curb his seizures initially, it was not always as effective as we would have liked it to be. There was also a brain surgery that we attempted, but his epilepsy was too widespread to actually operate. Dylan died of sudden, unexpected death in epilepsy on August 27, 2017. I have never once felt at home since the minute he stopped breathing. It has now been 4 years since I have seen my brother's face, held his hand, heard his laugh, or saw his smile. 4 years ago, it was really hard to imagine my life without Dylan in it. As the years have passed, I have learned a few things. I am blessed beyond words to have spent 20 years with Dylan. His light brought incredible joy into my life. Even though he suffered from epilepsy, he did not let his disease get in the way of living his life. Dylan rode motorcycles across the country, surfed in the ocean, rode dirt bikes, shot guns, and ran with the bulls. Even though he died at only 25 years old, he lived 1,000 lifetimes in that short span. My dad likes to say, the light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. That was my brother. A few months before Dylan died, he came to Chicago to the Cure Epilepsy event with my dad. Some of you in this room might have actually met him. At that event, he turned to my dad and said, I want to be involved in this fight for the rest of my life. We live in Oklahoma, so we didn't know a lot of families with kids with epilepsy. It felt somewhat isolating to us. So for Dylan to see a community that was fighting to cure epilepsy and other people struggling with the disease, it really gave him hope that we would find a cure. And my dad and I are here today to fulfill that promise because Dylan isn't able to. Give those you love an extra hug today and never forget to love like Dylan. Thank you.
Wonderful job. Thank you so much, Hannah, for sharing Dylan's story. And I just love that I have 2 new Okie friends. But I'm sorry, this is what brought us together.